American soybean farmers are preparing for the harvest season, but this year, uncertainty casts a long shadow over the fields. Traditionally, China has been the single largest buyer of U.S. soybeans, accounting for nearly half of all exports in some years. Welcome viewers to my channel. Please subscribe, like my video and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. Its demand has shaped planting decisions, farm investments, and local economies across the Midwest for decades. Yet, as this year's harvest approaches, China has not placed a single order for the upcoming market year. This absence has left farmers in uncharted territory, scrambling to determine how to manage crops that have been cultivated with great care, labor, and investment. The roots of this uncertainty trace back to 2018, when the United States and China engaged in a trade war that sent shockwaves through agricultural markets. The escalation began with the imposition of tariffs on a range of goods, including soybeans, in retaliation for perceived unfair trade practices. Farmers like Mike Langseth, who operates a farm in North Dakota, recall the sudden market shifts vividly. "It was hard to pencil in a profit," Langseth said. "Looking at the numbers, we were running at a loss. It was difficult to see how we were going to keep the operation afloat until China started buying soybeans again, even in small quantities." During the trade war, China gradually shifted its purchases from U.S. soybeans to Brazil, seeking alternative sources to meet its enormous domestic demand. This transition, initially temporary, became increasingly permanent, fundamentally reshaping the global soybean trade. Chad Hart, an agricultural economist at Iowa State University, emphasizes the significance of China's market behavior. Once China turned to Brazil, it wasn't just a temporary adjustment, it created a structural change in the global soybean market, he said. The timing of China's continued absence is particularly troubling. Prices for soybeans were already relatively low due to a combination of factors, including high input costs for fertilizers and energy, fluctuating weather patterns, and ongoing domestic supply challenges. Hart notes that profit margins for many farmers were likely already negative even before China withdrew from the market. Now, with this key buyer sidelined, the financial pressure is even greater as harvest approaches, he said. Historically, China's demand has been central to the U.S. soybean industry. In some years, the country has purchased nearly half of all U.S. soybean exports, making its market influence unmatched. No other country comes close to filling this gap, leaving American farmers exposed to a sudden and dramatic shortfall in demand. Hart predicts that many farmers will respond by diversifying into other crops in search of more stable revenue streams. "We're likely to see experimentation with corn, wheat, or other legumes that offer better economic returns," he said. Small but widespread adjustments will ripple across the Midwest as producers cope with the loss of a major market. For farmers who continue to grow commodity soybeans, options are constrained. Storage emerges as a critical consideration, but it is far from straightforward. Kaylor Rosano, a farmer from Carrington, North Dakota, and a member of the North Dakota Soybean Growers Association, describes discussions among local producers about storage and marketing strategies. "If our storage bins fill up with soybeans and corn, we simply won't have room for both," Rosano said. Corn harvests follow soybeans, meaning farmers must carefully decide which crop to prioritize. "If everyone stores soybeans, it could create bottlenecks for corn, which comes next," he added. Storage alone is not a perfect solution. Farmers who hold soybeans until spring face timing challenges, as they would compete with Brazilian exports that hit international markets fresh in February. American soybeans, months older by that point, risk losing market competitiveness. This period, from harvest through early winter, is our prime marketing season, Rosano explained. "It's when we can sell soybeans most effectively before international competition intensifies." In response to these market challenges, many producers have turned to domestic processing facilities. Since the trade war of 2018, private companies have invested heavily in U.S. soybean crushing plants. These facilities purchase soybeans from farmers, process them into soybean oil and meal, and then sell these products domestically and internationally. According to the American Soybean Association, U.S. crushing capacity has grown by 14% since 2023, bolstered by new plants constructed across the country. North Dakota alone opened 2 crushers last year, providing additional outlets for local farmers' crops. When both crush plants went online, we immediately saw better prices for our soybeans, Rosano said. It gave producers more options and created an alternative to exporting raw soybeans. However, domestic processing has its limits. Mike Langseth notes that even with new crush plants, the end products, soybean oil and meal, must find reliable markets. Even if you build crushers, they still need a plan for where to sell the products, he said. Without consistent demand for processed goods, farmers cannot rely solely on domestic processing as a long-term solution. Faced with global market uncertainty, some farmers have diversified into specialty markets. Langseth, for instance, transitioned from commodity soybeans to producing seeds for a major seed retailer. The premiums are significant, even in average years, he said. That extra dollar per bushel allows us to invest in farm improvements and maintain financial stability, even when commodity prices fluctuate. Beyond individual strategies, the absence of China has broad implications for U.S. agriculture. Economists warn that extended gaps in export demand could alter planting patterns, disrupt supply chains, and impact rural economies. Smaller farms, in particular, may struggle, lacking storage capacity, processing contracts, or diversified market access. Smaller operations are particularly vulnerable, Hart explained. They don't have the flexibility or resources to weather prolonged market disruptions. The situation also highlights the role of government policy and international relations in agricultural markets. Trade negotiations, tariffs, and diplomatic tensions have a direct impact on farmer livelihoods, demonstrating the intricate connections between geopolitics and local farming decisions. Farmers are often at the mercy of global demand, planting and harvesting crops that may not find their intended buyers due to circumstances entirely beyond their control. Resilience and adaptability are essential traits for surviving in this volatile environment. Farmers across the Midwest are exploring new strategies, from domestic processing to seed production to crop diversification. In some regions, producers are experimenting with rotational planting schedules to mitigate risk, while others are entering niche markets that provide higher profit margins but require specialized knowledge and investment. Technological innovation is also playing a role. Advances in crop genetics, precision agriculture, and storage solutions are helping farmers maximize yields and manage risk. Yet even with modern tools, the fundamental challenge remains. The global market dictates demand, and without buyers like China, even the most well-planned harvest faces uncertainty. Community networks and associations, such as the North Dakota Soybean Growers Association, have become critical resources for farmers navigating this environment. Sharing market intelligence, storage solutions, and alternative marketing strategies has helped some producers mitigate risk. We're learning from each other, Rosano said. No one farmer can solve this alone, but by working together, we can find strategies that help the entire region survive. As harvest season approaches, American soybean producers are navigating a complex landscape of economic pressures, global trade shifts, and logistical challenges. The absence of China, a buyer that has historically purchased nearly half of all U.S. soybeans, has created a high-stakes environment where every decision carries significant financial implications. Whether through domestic processing, crop diversification, or specialized seed markets, farmers are adjusting to a market fundamentally altered since 2018, striving to protect their livelihoods in a world where trade volatility has become the new normal. The coming months will test the resilience of U.S. soybean farmers like never before. Those who adapt quickly, balancing storage, processing, and alternative marketing strategies, may weather the storm, while others face difficult decisions that could reshape farms for generations. In this uncertain landscape, one constant remains: American farmers continue to work the land with dedication, hoping that innovation, cooperation, and strategic thinking will help them navigate the challenges of a globalized agriculture.